just so you guys know, what we typically do, just to give the big guys a little bit more time to warm up and we're not rushing them, and also they have another, like a third, we're going to use the platform. So any like the equipped guys, anyone who's lifting equipped today or lifting with wraps? Okay, great. I think there was
one more.
another guy from Bergen County, John, right?
Yep.
So any of the equipped guys, if you guys want to warm up on the platform, just to get used to the kilo plates, I would recommend that. We will have, for anyone that's walking the weight out, just as a courtesy, if you could use the combo rack, because if you're not going to use the monolift anyway, that'd be great. So we're going to have a combo rack to warm up on for the walked out lifters, and anyone using the monolift, we'll have 2 monolifts for the heavy guys, and then 1 monolift to warm up for the lighter guys and the women. All right, so really quick, just so you guys know, 165 is going to be the cutoff for flight B. So if your opener is 170 kilos or above, okay, so Joe DeRossi is going to start the order, and then up to, and upwards, Robert's going to be the last person in flight A. So if you're 170 kilos or above, you're going to be in the first flight. If you're 165 kilos or below for the squat, you're going to be in the second flight. So everyone know so the second flight shouldn't start warming up until the first flight starts, which will be about 9:30. I think we're making good time. We don't have thunder and lightning yet, so I think that we'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on the flight order before I get into the rules? Good? Okay, so we're going to post those. Okay. All right, so thank you guys for being here. I'm Coach Gaglione. How many lifters is this their first time competing? Excellent. And then for any lifters, this is the first time competing with us. Okay, so a couple there. Just a couple of things. There will be, just for people that are kind of newer and stuff, there are going to be some lifters that are wearing knee wraps. There are going to be some lifters that are wearing knee sleeves, some people wearing powerlifting equipment. Some of the lifts might be looked a little bit different, but all the rules are the same. For any of the equipped lifters, if you want to get a tap or if you want to get, have one of the judges watch your warm-ups to make sure you're at a good depth, we don't want anyone to bomb out, so just let us know. We want to make sure everything is good. But other than that, I don't think there should be any kind of issues with the rules. We're going to go through just general rules, and then we're going to go through the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. So a couple of things that we just want to make sure that in terms of your openers and things like that, before the flight starts, we're a little bit more relaxed than a high-level meet. In a high-level meet, you have a little bit less time. But as long as the flight doesn't start yet, you change your opener. Okay? Once the flight starts, though, you're kind of set with whatever your opener is. If you're starting to warm up, maybe you don't feel so good, maybe your back's a little stiff, and you want to lower your opener, that's totally fine, as long as it's before the flight starts. Once the flight starts, your opener is locked in. In terms of attempts, as soon as your lift is done, you need to go to the head table and go into your next attempts. If you are unfamiliar with kilos, we'll have a kilo chart for you. The kilos are going to be in 2.5 kilo increments. So for example, if you start off with a 165 lift, you can go up to 167.5 or 170, but you can't pick like 166, for example, okay? So you can only, we're not doing any world record. I don't think anyone's going for an all-time world record today, so you can't chip your attempt. So you need to go in increments of 2.5 kilos. Brandon, can you come along to quieter? This is Mama's social time. All right, so that's going to be. So it's really important to keep the meet moving. Once the bar is loaded, we're not going to really rush anyone because it's only 2 flights, but you have 60 seconds to complete the lift. For those that are kind of wrapping your knees and things like that, I'd recommend start wrapping up. If you're a clip lifter, get your suit straps and all that kind of situated. When you're kind of in the hole, start kind of wrapping, okay? If for some reason there's some sort of issue, if someone dumps the bar or something like that, we'll give you a little bit more time if you need to take your wraps off and stuff like that. But once the bar is loaded, which we'll say the platform is ready, you have 1 minute to complete your attempts, okay? So just make sure if you're wrapping your knees, we do have also a wrap roller here. If you'd like to use it, just be courteous because we have a bunch of our lifters that are using it as well. So if you need to, just please wait your turn if you need to use the wrap roller. In terms of equipment, RPS has got a lot of different rules. I do, as the meet director, I do have the discretion for some different things. So typically RPS, they will allow barefoot, but we do advise, just for cleanliness and hygiene, that you wear deadlift socks. If you didn't get a pair of deadlift socks from us, just let us know and we'll get you a pair. Okay. Besides that, you know, everyone's got their singlets and all that, belts you can wear. If you're wearing knee sleeves in the Raw Modern division, just please indicate that on your first attempt so we could separate your scoring for open powerlifting. So in RPS, Raw Modern, to anything on your knees, so whether it's knee sleeves or knee wraps. But for open powerlifting, if you're trying to get ranked, if you're hitting an elite total in a certain division, we will differentiate if you're wearing sleeves or wraps for open powerlifting if you'd like. If you don't really care, you don't need to denote it at the table. So anyone that's wearing knee sleeves and you'd like to get separated in open powerlifting, just please let the table know when you send the results in, and we'll help you out. Okay. In terms of a platform change, we'll let you guys know as soon as the platform is changed. We'll give you guys ample time to warm up for bench, but it'll be a quick platform change, so we'll keep you up to date with when the bench is going to start and when the deadlift is going to start as well. Any questions on kind of equipment or general rules or what's allowed in terms of like what you can wear? If you do baby powder, please use it outside for the deadlift. We will have chalk for you. Any questions on equipment or anything like that? All right, so we're going to get into the squat. There's 2 commands in the squat. We have everything listed, so if you listed yourself as walked out, we won't pull the cradle for you. If you listed yourself as using a monolift, we'll pull the cradle for you. You should not start the squat until you get a squat command. If you'd like to give the head judge a nod, just let him know you're ready. That's a good idea. You don't have to, but it's just good kind of practice. If you start to descend before the squat command, it's going to be a no lift, even if it's a beautiful squat. A lot of common faults. The biggest common fault for a squat is going to be depth. So we're looking for the hip crease to be below the knee. In terms of some of the equipped lifters that'll have a little bit wider stance, where you're not going to have to quite go as low because you're going wider, but we still expect you to kind of get to that, you know, slightly breaking parallel position. But it's just going to look a little bit different if you guys are watching some of the equipped lifters. So basically, what we're looking for is that you're going to form this crease in your hip, okay? So here, right now, so like my knee joint is below my hip, but if I start to kind of descend lower, now my hip joint, my crease, okay, is below my knee. So that's what we're kind of looking for in the squat. It doesn't need to be, we're not looking for crazy, you know, butt to the floor, but you do need to break parallel to get a white light for our meet, okay? If you're not sure what proper depth is, we'd have you to like look in your warm-ups and make sure that you're hitting a good standard. Besides depth, other things that can cause a fault through squat would be downward motion, as well as taking a step. So if you start to kind of come out of the hole and you kind of dip down and then you come back up, or if you really round over a lot and the bar actually visibly moves downward, then that's going to be a no lift. If you stumble, if you take a step coming out of the hole, or if you take a step before you start walking it back in before the lock command, that's going to be a no lift. So those are the most common faults in the squat. Just also so you're aware, in the warm-up room, there's going to be 55-pound Texas squat bars for warm-up. On the platform, it's a 60-pound squat bar, so if you're kind of like, that seems a little heavy or whatever, squat bar is heavier for our meet, okay? So, any questions on the squat? Again, if you're warming up on the squat and you're walking out, please use the combo rack just so the people that are using the monolift will have access to that, okay? Okay, so we're going to go on to the bench press now. So the bench press, there's going to be 3 commands. If you miss any command, it's going to be a no lift. So it's going to be a start command once the bar is motionless here. A press command once the bar is motionless on the chest. So it's not necessarily a length of time we're looking for, but we're looking for you to stop the bar. So if the bar is kind of dancing, if you're kind of sinking it, sometimes that's not. You're not going to get a press command right away. So if you show control, you're able to stop the bar quickly. You can get a press command. So typically, if you're in bencher, the bencher will kind of stop the bar for you. So sometimes it may seem like they're getting a quicker command, but if you show control and you stop the bar, the press will seem quicker because you're in control of the weight. It's not necessarily a length of time. Same thing on, you need to make sure that your elbows are locked out at the start to get a start command. If you have a handoff person, you can use your own handoff person, but the handoff person must leave the platform so that the head judge can see the bar. So if you have a handoff person, you're going to step off. Is anyone using a 3-man lift today?
Yeah, probably.
So the 3-man lifts, if you're doing a 3-man lift, you will stay on to spot. Just make sure you're not touching the weights at any point. That'd be a no lift. But just for safety, if you're doing a 3-man lift, you'll stay on to spot the lifter, just so there's no issues there. Okay. So if you see people doing a 3-man lift, you know that's just a different safety precaution there. So as we start, press, wrap. During the pressing sequence, we're going to make sure that your glute stays in contact with the bench at all times. If the legs can move, but if the butt leaves, if there's daylight, it's going to be a no lift. Whatever foot position you choose in the RPS, you can choose to bench your ball of your feet, or you can choose to bench with your feet flat. Whatever position you start in, you must remain in. If your foot slides, or if your foot changes position and kind of moves around and leaves contact with the floor, that's the case for a no lift. If there's any kind of downward motion, so we're going to look for that, especially for the equipped lifters. We want to make sure that there's no dipping of the bar, especially sometimes it gets a little funky towards the lockout. So we want to make sure there can be uneven pressing, but you should be locking out at the same time. If there's a really major dip, and again, if the center of the bar goes down, that's no lift. One side can start to kind of, if one side's a little stronger, maybe you have a shoulder injury, it doesn't need to be a completely level bar the whole time, but the center of the bar should not dip at any moment in the bench press. So butt coming up, missing commands, downward motion, those are the most common faults in the bench. Any questions on the bench? Excellent. Deadlift's pretty simple. There's one command, just a down command. So, let's take this pull here. Once you touch the bar is live. So, if you are somebody that likes to have a ritual of doing a practice pull, for example, if you tug kind of hard and if the plates leave the ground, that counts as an attempt. So just be careful. Once your hands are on the bar is live. So you could do whatever, you could do, your little Tamara dance or whatever you like to do to set up. But just once you touch the bar, it is a live bar. You can elect to use a conventional stance or a sumo stance, a hook grip, double overhand grip, a mixed grip. Straps are not allowed. Okay. So once we start the lift, once you're fully erect, so we're looking for the hips to be locked out, and also you're not like kind of slouched here, so you don't need to really over-exaggerate, and sometimes if you over-exaggerate, your actually knees will unlock, so we're looking for the knees, the hips, and the shoulders all to be erect, okay? Once you're fully erect and you have control of the bar, you're going to get a down signal. Down signal does not mean slamming the bar. This is not Instagram. This is a real meet, okay? So we're not going to slam it down. You don't need to bring it down gingerly. Let gravity take it down, and then you're going to let go of the bar once the plates are actually physically on the floor, okay? If you let go of the bar at any point on the way down, it's a no lift, okay? So make sure that you bring the bar down under control and you're not throwing the bar down. So let gravity. You don't need to do a slow eccentric, but just don't slam the bar, please. Same goes for warm-ups. Just please take care of the equipment. And really for any lift, we have our good spotters and stuff here, so always stay with the lift. And if you are in trouble at any point, you can always say take it. But otherwise, we're going to let you fight it, and we'll let the judges judge the lift for you. All right. So in the case of the deadlift, common faults. The most common faults would be some sort of downward motion. You could have some sort of just a regular good old-fashioned downward motion. You could have ramping. You could have hitching and supporting the weight on the thighs. They're all kind of similar. So it usually happens around the knees when people are struggling. You could shake as much as you want. That's fine if that happens to you. But as soon as the bar dips at all on the way up, that's going to be no lift. If I start to shoot my knees forward aggressively, that's called support. That's not allowed. Okay, that's kind of like a strongman lift. If I also jerk the weight up, there's downward motion every time you kind of hitch it and jerk it, and that's also going to be a no lift. So those are kind of, so once you get to the lockout, just be patient. You don't get style points for lifting it faster, so just have a clean, smooth lockout. Take your time, hold it. Also, if you have soft knees or kind of a crab finish, that's also you have to. So once the bar stops, you will get a down signal, and make sure you're fully erect once you do. Okay. Deadlifts, and if you stumble on the deadlift, you stumble on any lift, your feet needs to remain in the same position you start with. Any questions on the deadlift? In terms of best lifter, I think we'll probably have a best equipped lifter, we'll probably have a best male and female lifter, we'll have some individual awards for kind of, some of this individual performances. I think I kind of covered everything. Judges, did I miss anything? So we have we got some judges here. We got Nick Wheeler, he's an elite level power lifter, close to an 800-pound deadlifter. He's going to be judging today. We have Nick. Nick's a former elite level lifter as well. And then we got Brad, who's nationally ranked masters bencher. So they're going to be your judges, so please be respectful for them. If you get a red light, if you have any questions on why you got a red light, you can ask them. Guys, most importantly, let's just have some fun today. I know it's not like the best weather, so if you have feedback, so maybe next year we'll get some space heaters and things like that. We'll kind of pray that there's no lightning and things like that. I would just advise you kind of put your sweats on in between attempts if you're a little cold. If you guys want to hang out in here, your handlers can be in the back room at any point. You guys are going to have about 45 minutes, flight A, to warm up, and we're going to start promptly at 9:30. Do you guys have any questions before we start? You guys ready to have some fun? Yeah. All right, let's hear it. Come on.
It's not like how it was before, right?